What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Demetrius, with the PPP, Panthers Prime Podcast. Hey, man, the Seattle Seahawks defeated the Carolina Panthers yesterday in a 27-37 loss. A lot of good things to take away from this game. Of course, on the offensive side, the defense really did suffer a lot, but we're going to get into all of that. Andy Dalton looking like a veteran quarterback. Yeah, man, hopefully Bryce took some pointers. But hey, let's get into it. You know what time it is. Let's go. All right, man, so yesterday the Carolina Panthers lost to the Seattle Seahawks in a game in which I felt like we really had a lot of momentum going the first half of that game. We ended that game, or that first quarter, 13-12 going into halftime. When we first started off this game, we was on defense. The defense caused a 3-and-out. Things were looking really, really good, man. We looked really, really strong up front. Was denying Geno, had Geno on his heels the whole game, man. And it's a game in which we saw Andy Dalton look like a veteran quarterback. I think we put up the most, I know we put up the most passing yards that we've done this whole entire season so far. In one game, we put up almost close to the amount that he's put up in 2 games, which, points to the fact that he is a veteran quarterback. You know what I mean? So let's get into it real quick. Let's dive into the numbers real quick, man, and we can kind of see how everything was yesterday. So the one major improvement that I saw that we did have was our passing first downs. That increased dramatically from the Saints game to this game. I believe we had 17 first downs through the air. And that's indicative of who Andy Dalton is. The one thing that I did not like was our first downs on the ground. We only got 3 first downs on the ground, which kind of alludes to the point that our run game has not been on point at all for the past 3 games. Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, I know Raheem Blackshear is injured. He's been out, basically for, the beginning part of the season. We haven't seen him in action. I think he's still dealing with an injury. But our run game has been subpar at best. And we're not able to really get it going. I think Miles Sanders only had 9 carries for 24 yards. I mean, that's what 3 or 4 yards per carry, if that. I mean, we really have to step it up. I think that's like 2.5. We really have to step it up and really get going in the run game, because that's where the help is going to come in at when Bryce does take over the helm again from Andy. We have to get that run game going, which has been dismal at best. I mean, we can't do anything. We need to get back to how it was when we played the Atlanta game, how we used Laviska Shenault, we used the quick game, the quick screens, things like that, because just lining up the running back behind the quarterback and going on a halfback dive, that's not going to cut it, man. Other teams, for some reason, are able to do it on us. We cannot do it. We need to go to more of a zone run scheme, man, out towards the sidelines, man, out towards the numbers for us to get anything going. So our yards for this game was 378 yards total, which is a step up. We've been averaging about 150 with Bryce. So it was good having Andy Dalton in there to kind of show Bryce how things should be. You know what I mean? If there's any kind of silver lining, I would say that the Panthers offense came out aggressive. The wide receivers, these are the same wide receivers on Monday night that everybody was saying could not get open. And I was telling everybody, those wide receivers were getting open. It was just a quarterback, and rightfully so. Bryce Young is a rookie, and I think that we put a lot of expectation on Bryce for year 1, game 1, game 2. He's a rookie. He needs time to develop, and we see that now. This isn't going to be our year to, make it far. We may rattle off a couple wins, but I don't see us making that steamroller, push into the playoffs and, going forward with that. I didn't even see us winning this game, to be honest with you, and it was a lot more entertaining than what I thought it was going to be. Frank Reich opened up the playbook. We saw a lot more, different plays. We saw Adam Thielen crush it, man. I mean, Adam Thielen was crushing it. Let's pull up Adam Thielen's let's pull up his stats real quick. So Adam Thielen had 11 receptions for 145 yards. And 1 touchdown. Come on. I told y'all, it was a couple months ago, I asked you guys, who do y'all think was going to be the X factor for the Carolina Panthers this season? And everybody said Jonathan Mingo, which I get. He's the number 1 or the number 2 draft pick for this year. He's fast, he's elusive, he's a big target. But we saw last week against, the Saints game, him drop a ball that hit him right in the numbers. But I told everybody that Adam Thielen was going to be the X factor, and as you can see, this old wide receiver had 145 yards against a decent defense in the Seattle Seahawks. 1 touchdown. I mean, the guy was all over the place, man, getting open. And he's the type of player where he's looking back at the quarterback to see what's going on. Very savvy, getting to his open spots, finding the zones inside the coverages, man, and exploiting them, and getting open for his quarterback. That's something that we did not see happen, with Bryce Young, because a lot of times he was getting pressured. I mean, it just wasn't. He just didn't have enough time. So big ups to Andy Dalton. Had an amazing game in my opinion, man. He was 34 for 58, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. I mean, you can't ask for that. You can't ask for anything better on a short week. I think he did pretty good. So big ups to Andy. Big ups to my boy Adam Thielen, who I knew was going to do his thing once he got here to Carolina and had the opportunity to really flex his route tree. So big ups. All right, let's talk about defensive injuries that we sustained, and I might be missing one. I know for a fact the first one was C.J. Henderson. Now let's talk about C.J. Henderson real quick. I've been very, very critical of C.J. Henderson this year because he has had a lot of plays where I feel like he either gave up on the play or he caused a offensive pass interference when it didn't require it. All he had to do was get his head around. But what I will say is this: the portion of the time that he was on DK Metcalf, he locked down DK Metcalf. I got to give it to C.J. Henderson. He locked down DK Metcalf for the time that he was on him, man. I think maybe only 1 pass got through. I think he was targeted at least about 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 times. And C.J. Henderson was over there. The last play where he got rolled up, his ankle got rolled up with a pass going to the end zone to DK Metcalf. I mean, he was on it. So, he took an ankle injury, looks like. Don't know the extent of it, but we took a pretty big hit with that one, man. Then, Frankie Louisville with a hip injury. That was pretty tough too, man. Because at that point, the run game opened up for them. Charbonnet, I mean, he carved us up in the fourth quarter, man. We cannot stop the run. Him and Kenneth Walker, them boys was a 2-headed monster in the fourth quarter, just running down the time, tearing up our 3-4 defense with the substitutions that we had to have on defense. So, it's looking pretty hard right now on the defensive side, with the injuries that we have. Of course, Shaq Thompson went out. We have J.C. Horn that's out. So, it's not looking good, man. A lot of our starters are getting injured. So a lot of the rookies and a lot of the new people who we've acquired have to step up, especially coming up this week. We got 2 0-3 teams, the Minnesota Vikings and us, man. And somebody got to be 1-3 this week. Hopefully it's us, and hopefully they're 0-4. But we have to make some type of amends, and get the right players in position. I think this week we'll see a lot of Jeremy Chin action, and hopefully Troy Hill will get a little bit more acclimated into the defense. So, we need to do something because the Minnesota Vikings, they're hungry. They want to get their first win. So, that's that. So my positive takeaways from this game was I believe that Andy Dalton should stay the QB1 at least until the bye week. Give Bryce some time to kind of sit back and learn, how it is to be a quarterback, what's needed, the finer details, and just the carefreeness, if that's even a word. Just being carefree and just going down and playing ball. I think he's over processing a little bit too much, and that's causing him to make some decisions to hold the ball a little bit longer. We saw Andy letting that ball fly, and that's what a savvy quarterback does, man. A veteran quarterback. So that's my first take. I think that the offensive play was a lot better this week because we had a veteran quarterback. So that's the first one. The second one is Adam Thielen is officially in my books our wide receiver 1. DJ Chark is a close 2, but Adam Thielen is our clear 1, man. The amount of space that he was getting on these DBs and cornerbacks for the Seattle Seahawks was amazing, man. I think Adam Thielen has secured in my mind. I'm gonna be honest with you. In my mind, I think he's the number 1. DJ Chark, he had an amazing catch on the sideline, but Adam Thielen is a shorthand guy. All right, so that's my second point, man. My third point I want to say is Eddie Pinheiro. Eddie Pinheiro is, he's on point, man. I really wish we would have went ahead and took points, right before we went for that fourth down play, and that would allow us to at least go up. I believe we would have went up like I believe that would have been 16-12 at that point. So we got to take points when we can, and that's that. My takeaways on the negative side, we got battered on the defensive side with injuries and things like that. We have to figure out how we're going to be able to sustain coming up next week when Minnesota comes in. That's the first point. Second point, our run game has to increase. That run game was pathetic. It was pathetic. It was bad. So we have to figure out, come on, Deuce, you got to get your running backs on point, man. You got to talk to Thomas. We got to create some type of scheme to get these running backs open or get them, into some type of, play where they can get some yards, man. I don't want just a scat back that can catch the balls and stuff. I want someone that's going to be able to run that ball down the middle or wherever, man. And nobody's afraid of us. All they do is stack the box and boom, that's it. So we have to try to create some type of lanes for all running backs to run through very fast. And my last takeaway is this. We have to make sure that our defensive play overall just increases. Like the way that Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker was just running on us, we have to shore that up. That cannot happen again, man. That cannot happen again. So hopefully, we do a complete 180 on the defensive side. I hope that we increase what we've been doing so far from the Seattle game to the Minnesota game. Andy Dalton stays QB1. Bryce Young sits out all the way until the bye. Let Bryce come back when he plays, CJ Stroud. So that's what I think. What's your thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks game? Did you like it? What was your thoughts? Very entertaining game all the way until about the third quarter where the momentum started to shift and we just saw that run game attack, that run attack just deplete us. So what you guys think? Drop it in the comment section, man. And hey, this is your boy Demetrius with the PPP. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate everybody. Hey, you know what time it is. Let's go.